it was wonderful. So,
Oh, that's awesome. It helped me tremendously with a lot of the residual. I went through all this when I was in life coaching and no one really knew. I went through that when I was in school and I started last year. I went through my hypnosis program and my life coaching, going through all this transition, and no one even really knew. I kind of kept it under the radar as more or less like a test mechanism to see, is this really going to work? And it really did for me. So, that's some
that's
kind of,
awesome. That is
yeah,
really great.
it is a wonderful tool. But anyway, I want to say thank you for coming in and sharing that with us. And I'm glad you're doing better. And I hope you continue to do so too. I truly sympathize with that nerve pain. There is just nothing you can do about that. But I am glad that you are finding some relief with that.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that some other time, Kristen, because maybe I can share some other stuff with you about that as well. So thanks you guys for having me on.
Hey,
Oh,
I
you're
thank you.
appreciate it
welcome.
so much.
Anytime. Thank you so much, Denise. You take care.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Denise. Thank you for being on the show.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was good.
That was nice, yeah. It's that nerve pain. I was watching Oprah one day, and she was doing an interview with Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
I remember that interview. That was a very good interview.
It was. I wish I could interview as well as she does. She is the original life coach, Oprah Winfrey. I believe that she truly is.
Yes, she is.
And Stephen was talking about how he had been, he's been on drugs off and on his whole life, and his latest bout with opiate addiction, he fell off the stage, he hurt himself,
Sure.
he got back on it, and he ends up hooked, and he suffers from nerve pain in his leg, and he takes a drug called Neurontin, which isn't a narcotic, but it is good for nerve pain, and he takes it at a pretty high dose,
Right.
and it gives him some relief, but nothing takes that pain away. Neurontin didn't do anything for me.
Right.
I
Right.
tried taking that, and it wasn't anything at all. So,
Wasn't exactly what you were looking for.
no. Was there anybody else that wanted to?
I don't see anybody on the lines.
If
I don't
anyone
know
would
if
like
any...
to call in, we do have a few minutes. We kept the show open till 8:30, just in case anyone wanted to join us.
But if somebody would like to call in, our number is 480-409-0773. Feel free to give us a shout if you have something you want to share. If you want to ask some questions, we're here for you.
What do you think about some of the things that we've been revealing, with this topic? What's been your biggest aha moment of all of this?
I don't know. I would have to say my biggest aha moment was looking at the addiction from a compulsory perspective.
Okay.
At the triggers. That was something new, and I, believe it or not, over this last week really took a look at myself and look at my behavior and really was able to nail a few things down and go, wow, this is why. And this is why this happens, and this is why it's like touching a match to gasoline at times.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's things that happen to me that I realize why they have absolutely no reaction, because that trigger isn't there. And it's a simple trigger, but it's very powerful. Pretty amazing. So how about you? What sort of aha moments did you get out of this show?
I would have to say the biggest aha that I got out of this was, I've been doing a lot of research in addiction for a long time, and in our coaching business, and for those of you that are first time joining us and really don't know a lot about Heart to Heart with the Hansons, we are relationship coaches. We work with couples that are going through very adverse time. We work with couples who, one or both maybe are addicts,
Sure.
alcoholics. Maybe there's been domestic violence in your relationship. You've been through previous relationships. You've got, past marriages. There's been infidelity, all different kinds of things going on, and you want the relationship to work out, and you're wanting to work together to make that happen. And we work with couples, through coaching, through hypnosis, through building a spiritual foundation, because we believe that through having a spiritual foundation, at least at the base, really gives us something to hold on to, really gives us hope. And, it's a spirit foundation of your choice, whatever, you feel is important. So I would have to say, moving forward in this program, really being able to tell the truth about my life, and really, being an open honest with my kids, of course my mom's, pretty much always known everything about me, and really getting the support of my family in coming out with these things, because I really believe we have the potential to help a lot of people, and I'm really super excited about that. I'm really excited that the things that I've gone through, even in my, even in times when I was just like, you know what, I can't even imagine what I've done in a past life to have this kind of stuff happen to me that it has. But I realize now, it's not all in vain.
No, it's not. And, of the struggles that I've had in my life, and there's been a few, we're going to have shows that we're going to do here that, trust me, I'm not going to have to do a bit of research on. That's almost like saying, and then I'm going to have this test, and I'm going to be able to ace it. But no, through life, there's been certain adversity, certain things thrown at me, and at different points in life, I've had different levels of enlightenment. Mm-hmm. And at times, there are times in my life where I believed that, well, this is all preordained. There are times that I believed in, I have complete control over it. And then there's a point of time when you get to be an adult where you realize sometimes stuff just happens. Mm-hmm. Sometimes stuff happens for a reason. And sometimes all you can do is just power through it and save that wisdom for those that you meet along the way, because there's going to be someone who's going to be looking to you for it.
That's very powerful. You always come up with like these little tidbits of wisdom, and that's why I liked you, because when I first met you, you had a very genuine nature about you, and I enjoyed that innocence about you, that you always had these uplifting and
right. And that's kind of where I'm at with some of the things that have happened, because some of it's been quite unpleasant. There's other things that have been quite unpleasant in my life, other things that not so much. But then there have been some really great times, and I've met a lot of great people so far in my journey on my path here in life. I just like to say that I'm grateful for my life.
Me too.
I'm grateful, because if my life were different, I wouldn't be the person sitting here today.
Absolutely.
And I'm at a point in life where I can look at that person in the mirror, and I really like what I see now.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I feel the same way. For so long I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed, I felt guilt. I always walked out that guilt. And just going, when we were putting the show together and laying everything out and really taking everything step by step, my goal was to take this from a perspective of someone who's never really had anything at all to do with drugs in their life. God forbid they come down with something and they have to go to the doctor and they're given this prescription and they're like, oh, this is really good.
Yeah, this feels good. Oh.
Right, yeah. When the first time I had one, I had surgery, gallbladder surgery at 8 o'clock in the morning. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm ready to clean the house, because that's the best I felt in 5 years. Never mind the surgery.
Right.
It took away my back and neck pain that I had. So I was, happy about that. So, going through the show and just looking at everything piece by piece and trying to relate to people from a very innocent perspective that things can happen, and to be aware, when you go to the doctor, trust your doctor. Like I said, I have a fabulous doctor, and he is very patient, very compassionate, working with me, and didn't make me feel, bad. I know lots of people like to call you a junkie or call you this and call you that, but, I wouldn't worry about that too much. So did the other person call in that was supposed, did we get that?
We didn't.
That's okay.
I didn't think he was going to call, but maybe some other show he might call in for.
Awesome.
One day.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll wrap it up tonight. Do you have, before we close out, though, I do want to say something. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add or talk about?
No, I just really feel good about this show. It's probably, I'm hoping this is one of our best ones so far.
I feel good about it.
We have limited technical difficulties on this one. I know how to fix that technical difficulty now that I've run it through my head. But no, I just hope that this show reaches those who need to hear it. I saw a few people pop up in our chat room who had a few experiences. I'm sorry I didn't have a whole lot of time to address those. I think what we might try doing in some of our future shows is maybe get a third person in here who can man the chat room.
I think that we do, because the show is taking off a little bit more. Did we have people popping up?
Yes, we did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what I was doing in the beginning. You kind of were wondering what I was doing, thought I was playing with the computer. No, I actually saw people jumping into the chat room, and I did respond to a couple of them, but then I got called into having to do the show. But that would be nice to, maybe we could get somebody in here to at least address them, and maybe we could bring their stuff online as well.
Sure.
I'm sorry for those of you who did pop into the chat room and who I didn't have a big chance to address you. I really appreciate you for even being there. I appreciate you were
yes,
here with us.
Thank you very much
Thank you
for those
very much.
listening. We're learning how to do this.
You're part of the family here at Heart to Heart Radio as well.
If we flubbed on it, we apologize. I'm going to I think I go for broadcaster training. I think I'm going to look into that because we're going to learn a little bit. We're going to learn a little bit how to do this properly. So moving forward, next week's show is going to be about ex-partners.
Ex-partners, ex-spouses, exes,
and what they can bring to your new situation, good and bad. The influence they have on your current situation can be your ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-partner. I
know there's a lot of people out there with exes, and maybe we can get a few more call-ins, and maybe people might have some good strategies, for creating harmony with their ex, or just dealing with things with your ex.
Well, one of the things that we talked about in our initial show, as means of adversity, when you're in a relationship with someone, you bring everything from your past relationships forward with you. And if you've been married to 1, 2, or 3 people, or you have children with multiple people, you have to deal with them to some extent in your new relationship. And depending upon how they are, they can cause you great harm, great distress, and cause a lot of problems. And oftentimes, second, third marriages and long-term relationships can end because of the other person causing a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Well, we're going to come up with we have some real positive points and some great coaching. So if you or someone is having problems with the ex and would like some help with it, please come back next week at the same time. And it's going to be a heavy show. We'll
make sure to put the number out before we start the show or at the beginning of the show. We're sorry about that as well. We're still getting the format down.
I get excited. I'm so happy to start it, and then we go on. So anyway, just a few words before we close. I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and may Spirit always guide us and keep us going forward. Let us forget the past. Let us just keep our eyes ever present on the future, knowing that everything that we've done has been in good reason. Everything that is meant to be will be, and that you are always looked after, always cared for, and you are never alone in this world. And I wish you all a very good week. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time. From Heart to Heart with the Hansons, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Leaf.
Thank you, and good night. Thank you.
Good night.